Welcome back to Vintage Steel Garage. Today we're talking all things Porsche. We're not talking the 911, we're talking the Boxster behind us. Now, I've come to the realisation I'm not using the Boxster, and I don't really want to sell it, but I've just checked and the MOT ran out in May 2024 and it's now March 25. And I haven't used it, so it really needs to go to someone who's going to go and use it. So let's take a walk around it, and what I'm going to do, I could just sell it as it is, but I've decided I want to get it sort of top notch. It's a very good car. It's 26 years old. It's only done about 80,000 miles. I want to give it a service, an MOT. There's some paint on the wing where I scuffed it, and I just want to get some miles on it. The whole front end is poly bushed, the suspension. It handles like it's on rails. In fact, it actually handles better than the 911, but don't tell the 911 that. So let's have a quick walk round and I'll talk you through the jobs I need to do. So here we go. Boxster 2.7, 1999 on a private plate, and it does not look 26 years old, does it? It looks pretty fresh. It's obviously got the updated headlights, which the previous owner, or the previous owner but one, had actually took it to Porsche and spent £2,000 having the clear lenses put on the front and the rear. That's just Porsche prices for you. It's got the slightly larger 18-inch wheels, which normally it would have come with 17-inch. I can't remember the colour of the blue, but it's a gorgeous blue. Lovely inside. So it's super clean inside. Clear rear lenses. And like I say, the only thing I've done, I actually scuffed the wing there, and then I filled that with some paint, and I got a bit carried away flattening it down, and I flattened it right back, so I'm going to have to get that touched up. But other than that, it's absolutely mint. I've been to Le Mans twice in it, and I've done the North Coast 500 in it. So as I say, I've got some jobs I want to do on this before I sell it. I want to do service, which is oil filter, air filter, which I've got, MOT. No one's going to come and buy it if it's not MOT. Ignition switch. That's one it took me a while to actually find out. When I get into it, I'll explain more. But basically, the radio cuts out, and it's down to the ignition switch. I've replaced it on the 996, on the 911, so I'll just need to do that. Belly panel back on. The usual thing. I took a belly panel off about, well, it's got to be at least 12 months ago, and 2 years ago now, just to investigate something. Never put it back on, but during that investigation I found that there's a water hose on the radiator underneath that had a very small, didn't have a nick in it, but it's worn slightly where it's been rubbing on the underframe, so I'm going to replace that. Replace the water pump. It is dual water pump, so I'm going to replace the water pump, paint the wing, and I'm also going to just replace the drive belt because it's obviously been static for 12 months. So I've got all those parts in stock anyway. So let's get going, and we'll start off with the ignition switch, which is a bit of a tricky rascal. Yeah, so I'm going to replace this ignition switch here, which is this part, which is the part at the back there, and that fastens up the back of the dashboard there. So there's two ways to do it. You can go underneath, but it's quite a stretch to get to there, or you can actually remove this air duct here. You're going to take this light switch out, and then you can come in from the side, so that's the way I prefer. So just to show you now, I've taken the light switch off, which is this. Taken the light switch off, which is here. To get the light switch off, what you need to do is just press this little indent in the back there, and that just moves that little barb in there to then take it off. So that's taking it off. You can see the little groove in there where it sits, and so I need to undo that, take the screws out here, and this will then pull out. So you just need to take this nut off here, a couple of screws here, and this cowling will pull forwards. Then we can get access from the side. Just something to bear in mind once you've got these two out, there's actually a third one just here to take out. So you need to take the nut off, take that front, be careful with that because there's a wire on it, and then just take the third one out there. So once you've got the 3 screws out and the nut off, you just need to take this air duct here. You can just see there's one screw in the middle there. We need to take that out, and and then you can just see down there now the ignition switch, just down there. So we're now at the fun part where we can actually see it, and you'll see there's two little grub screws. If I can just point to them, there's one there and there's one at the top there that we need to undo, and then we undo the electrical connection on the back and that will come out. So it's a joyous part where you can see it until you put your hand in there and then you can't. So it's going to be quite hard to film. I'll try and work something out. You can just get there and undo that screw there. You can just see it coming out there, and then I just got to do the same with the one at the top up there. And if you get them enough out, it will start to come out. So there we go, we got the old one out. The old one's on the left there, new one's on the right. You can just see it looks the same. We've just got to get this one back in. So it's two grub screws to put it back in, electrical connection, and then put all the trim back. And that's about it. It's a fairly simple job really, just a little bit. So there we go, job complete. Took about 20 minutes to do, 20-25 minutes to do. So screw out here, pull this forwards, unclip underneath with a screwdriver, just push up, take the knob off, take the nut out, take the surround out. There's another screw behind here, so there's 3 screws holding that on, take that out. Then there's an air cowling with 1 screw on. Then you've got to get the electrical connector off the back and 2 grub screws off, and that's it done. And now when the ignition's on, the radio comes on, and obviously starts as well. Job number 1 done. So that's the first job crossed off, the ignition switch done, so we can get rid of that job. Air filter and oil filter for the Boxster. The oil filter is the same as the 996, which is not a cartridge. It's basically it's an element inside, so we have to unscrew that from underneath. The air filter is obviously a square air filter or an oblong air filter, not a long thin one like on the 911. Now, unlike the 911 you can access the engine fantastically from the boot here, in there. You can access it in there, the air filter is in there. The interesting thing on the 986 or the Boxster is the air filter, it's mid-engine. So on the 911, don't know if you know, but the engine's at the back and the gearbox is in front of it, which is more like the Beetle. On the 986, the gearbox is at the back and the engine is in the front. So you have no access through the boot. The actual air is sucked in there, so the air filter is about here. So you can't get in through there. You can get that cover off there and that gets you into the water pump, which is down here, but we want to get into here. So what you've got to do is lift the hood up, have the hood halfway up, have that back up, have it all disconnected, unclip all the hood. It's quite a faff, to be honest, and we'll get in it there, but it's starting to go dark, so that's a job for tomorrow. So what you need to do is raise to the top, start to lower the top I should say. You start to lower the top, unclip it, and you'll get a mid position where this is going up before it comes down again, which is good enough there. So you need to get it like that position. There's a strap down here that you undo with a little clip on it like a tether. You just pull that off each side, so you have that off like that there. Do the same on the other side. So that's the strap there. There. Unclip it from this part. Like that, and this will now lift up to give you better access. Then what we need to do is remove, on mine it has a box here for a radio, we need to take that out. It has like a little compartment that needs to come out, and then the carpet needs to come out. What I do is put a bungee cord from the roof, from the back of the roof to the front of the roof to hold it in place. So now we can access these parts here, which is, there's one there. So this comes out, which is like a small cubby hole storage. Once you have your storage compartment out, which can vary, you then just need to remove this cover. This then exposes the engine cover. Once you have the carpet out, you need to undo these 5 clips here to get access to the engine cover. Now once you've got that off, you've then got access to the engine. So access to the air filter is in this cover here. Now what I would recommend is put something over the wing of your car, because I've done it before where I've scratched it with clips on my clothes and things like that. So just do that. So it's these 2 clips here, and it's a little bit fiddly, especially one-handed. So I'm going to put the camera down and then pull this out and show you. So I've just freed the clips off now. They're these metal clips either side, and then you can take the filter out like that. So we'll take this filter out, replace it with a new one. So you can see that's the old filter, got a bit of dirt in there in the top. Just take this out. Just compare it with the new filter. Obviously the paper's slightly different colour, it's not discoloured like that, but that is a little bit dirty in there. So what I like to do is just put the date on it. It's March 25. Put the new filter in, and it's simply a reversal of the removal. So that's the filter side of it done. Let's get that back in. So there we go. There's the air filter back in place. Now there's also an oil air separator on here, which is easy to get to on the Boxster, but an absolute pig to get to on the 911, because you don't have access on top of the engine like this. You've got to remember, being mid-engine, the engine is the other way around. So you only get access from that end on the 911, and you have to come over the top. This is the gearbox joint here to get to the oil air separator. So it's very easy on the Boxster, very difficult on the 911. So while we're here, we'll just have a look around everywhere else, check it's okay. You can actually put this further upright and have it completely up over here if you're doing more intrusive work on it. And what you do with that is you just take these spring clips off here and this will swing forward, but just to get to the air filter, that is adequate and we don't need to do any more. So we can put all that back together now and call it done at the top and get underneath on the oil. Okay, so we're back from the MOT and I'm pleased to say the Boxster has passed. Unfortunately, it does have some advisories, which I like to have a car that's just passed and no advisories, but it is what it is. And in this case, the advisories of all 4 tyres all the way around are perished. And when I think about it, I've had the car since 2017, never replaced the tyres on it. I've actually looked at the date on the tyres and they're dated 2008. Now normally they recommend 3 to 5 years with tyres, and obviously this car has stood since May last year, so it's nearly 11 months, and obviously we're just standing still. The tyres have dry rotted out, so I'll just show you. And also, to be fair, when I bought the car in 2017, one of the tyres was damaged. It's always past its MOT, but it's the ribbing on the edge of it. I'll show you. It's here. So just that edge. Oh no, sorry, it's there. Now I've always been surprised actually that that has passed the MOT, because it's not only that curb that's gone, it's gone in there. Tell the tyre's aged because it's got this sort of a grey hue to it all round, and then if you look here, there are cracks showing. So yeah, it's fair play. It needs 4 tyres. So if we look at this one, you see some cracking here. So I can't really, in fact actually it's quite bad, isn't it? And this is just because it stood still. You see all the cracks all the way around. so I really need to replace the tyres. I can't sell it with tyres like that. No one's gonna want to buy a car knowing. And there you go, actually that's the date there. If you just look, turn it round, so it's week 27 2008. So these tyres are 17 years old. Is that correct? Yeah, 17 years old. Oh my god, when you think about it, these tyres are 17 years old. That is quite shocking, isn't it? I'm driving around in a performance Porsche with 17-year-old tyres. Hell. Anyway, you'd be pleased to know I've ordered a set of new 4.1s and I've gone for Bridgestones. I've used Bridgestones on the 911, found them excellent. No people rave about the Michelins. I'm not going for the Pirellis P0 because P0 means in 3 years' time you've got zero grip. So I'm not going for those. Got a good deal. I think it was about 480 quid for 4 tyres fitted. So that's pretty good. So it's another thing to add to the list, unfortunately. Now, one of the other things I'm actually thinking about, I've only driven it to the MOT station and back, and then probably about another 20-30 miles to and from work. I'm actually remembering why I didn't want to sell this car. Its handling is phenomenal. It just handles like a go-kart. And I've been on a forum recently about 911s, and people who've got a 911 996 at the moment and a Boxster have all said the same thing. The Boxster drives better, and I think it's because of this mid-engine thing. You've got the centre of balance, and it just seems more chuckable. This is like it's like a pussycat in a way. You can play it around on the corners. It'll let you know what it's doing. It doesn't bite you. It's fine. It's like your friend when you're driving it quick on country lanes and spirited, and the feedback's great. The 911 is faster. The feedback is as good as the Boxster, but it feels like it's trying to kill you. That's the problem. So back at the board, what have we got on the board of things we need to do? Well, we've took off the MOT, we've took off the ignition switch. I'm going to put the prices here next to me just for a bit of fun of how much it costs. I'm trying to give myself a budget of £1,000 to get all this sorted and get it up to top notch, because the car deserves it. It's a 25-year-old car. It's done 87,000 miles, which is low for a 25-year-old car. It's been garaged all its life, unfortunately, apart from this last year, because I've had the 911 in the garage, which is why I think I need to sell it so it can get in a garage again. And I don't want to sell it needing all the work done, because then it'll be on the slippery slope of a lot of Boxsters where they're neglected, and you can pick a Boxster up now for maybe 2-3 grand. I've seen even some for £1,500 MOT failures. I don't know how they're selling that cheap, because the breakers are selling the engines for 2.5 grand, so it seems crazy. But I can assure you, if you buy one for 3 grand, you'll spend another 3 on it getting it right, and you should have just bought one at 6 that's sorted and have fun. Anyway, so we're going to put the jobs on here. We've done part of the service, we've done the air filter. What we're going to do the next episode, we're going to do the oil filter and the oil, and then we're going to move on to some of the other jobs. And one of the jobs I've got here is replace water pump. The reason I said replace water pump is there's a smell of coolant. Now, I did replace the header tank when I first got the car because it had a crack in it, but I replaced it with a second-hand one. Maybe there's a crack in that one now, because it is a weakness on the Boxster. The coolant tank's cracking, so maybe I need to buy a new one of those. But what I've got is, because obviously you've seen the other episode on the Range Rover where I've done the header tank on that, I've now got a kit to pressurise it and check where the leaks are. So we're going to do that and try and get rid of it, because just when you set off there's this smell. If you've smelled it before, you know what I mean. It's a disgusting smell with the coolant, and you can't mistake it, and it's just a little whiff of it. And of course the engine is right behind you, so you're pretty close to it. So I need to sort that out. So please keep watching. Next episode we'll do a bit more on the Boxster, maybe go out for a drive in it, and let's get it top notch, at which point I'll probably decide I'm not selling it. Okay, bye.